This is the hind quarter, one of the hind quarters from the doe that I shot a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and it's been hanging, and then I had it in the refrigerator. But I just want to show you that it doesn't have to be overwhelming to clean your own deer. It's actually not that bad at all. I like using rubber gloves. Makes it easier for cleanup. But just get your hind quarter, and before you even start cutting apart the muscles, I like to clean up like any fat. Like I cleaned up here, you know, like here there's a little piece of fat. You don't want fat in any grind. And just take your time. There's no hurry. But I got a thing here for all my scrap, and then anything that I'm going to turn into grind or burger I put here and keep it separate. But then it's I can name, you know, you got top round, eye round, you got the football. I mean, there's a ton of YouTube channels that'll give you the proper names, but it's really simple. You just want to follow the seams. Like here's the eye round, and there's your top round, and it's all there for you. You just want to find that seam and just separate it. We're not trying to be perfect here, but just let that tip of the knife go in. And here, this is the gland. Everyone talks about the gland. This is the gland here. So try not to cut it with your knife. Don't let that knife go through it. But other than that, this is real simple. See, it's already separating. I'm just helping it with the knife. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing and show you. But see, you just separate it. Just use the tip of the knife and pull. You know, give it some pressure, and then let your knife do the work. My family loves steaks. We love venison steaks. So there you go. There's a nice piece. Now, of course, it needs to get the silver skin off and get all this cleaned up, but I'll do that. And then like anything that's thin like that, I'll cut off and put it into my grind pile. But I'm gonna put this in here. And right now all I'm gonna do is separate. Now here we have the eye around. And again, go to that seam and just follow it. Let the knife do the work. And there's so many different ways to do this. And I watched a million videos. And in the end, the only thing that's going to help you do this is experience. And what's the worst that's going to happen? If you cut it wrong, it's still there. It's still a piece of meat that you can use. There you go. There's the eye. Put that aside to clean. And then here's the gland. And you do not want to cut into that. Right now I'm trying to separate it from just separate it. And just put the one thing that I learned is tension. You know, when you're cutting this, when you put tension on it, it makes it cut so easy. And there you go, that's the gland. And you don't want that. You just want that, that's garbage. Don't even let, if you cut it through it with your knife, I'll wash my knife if I accidentally go through it. And then now, you have the football. I call this the mini football. Again, I don't know the proper terms to a lot of these. And then what you want to do is now you're just going to separate it from the bone. So I'll switch my knife around like this and just let the tip of, I can feel the bone right here. So I'm just going to follow the bone. Just let that knife go along the bone. And that's all you're doing is separating it from the bone. See that? Let the knife do the work. And then another big chunk. Again, all this has to be clean, but I'll do that later. Put that in there. And now we have the, I call this the football. And just move it around, use that tip, be careful. Bam. You know, there you go. Nice big chunk of boneless meat. You know, you get rid of all of this. You know, I'm going to come back after, before I vacuum seal it, and I'm going to clean up all of this and get this all nice. And then I call this the mini football. And again, I'm just separating it from the bone. There's the mini one. This one I usually turn into ground. And then there's your shank. Personally, I don't think it's worth the trouble with the shank. I know a lot of people like it, but I'll come in here and get the big pieces of meat and turn them into grind. That's it. You know, you can take your time. You know, there's a lot of meat here. That's all good for grind. But anyways, that's it. But while I'm here, I'm going to show you how I clean up something like this. Alright, you want a sharp knife. I always have a wet washcloth. Straighten that edge out. And then you just take your time. Put on the radio, listen to some tunes, right? You just want to get this is the top round. You know, in beef, this is actually a big cut, but like all that right there. What are you gonna do? You ain't gonna make a steak out of that, so I'll clean that up and turn that into grind. But I'm just trying to get this going here. And just a lot of sharp knife, watch your fingers, pull tension, and take off all that stuff that you don't want. And this right here, this is from when you open it up when you gut it, and it's exposed to air, you know, when you have it hanging. And I like to just cut that off. It dries up. Good. Just cut that off. Nice sharp knife. See how it's discolored? See that right there? I cut a little bit too much off. No big deal. Just come there, fillet it like a fish, and we'll throw it into burger. Piece of fat right here. Just come here. See if you can get underneath it. Just cut it away. You know, I know that we went to Evil's with Tuta Deer, and if you're not going to do it yourself, find yourself a good butcher. We go to Evil's; they do a good job. Separate this a little here. More fat. Again, I don't know the proper terms to all of this stuff. I mean, I've watched a million videos, like I said, but it's not necessary. You don't need to be a professional butcher. You're just cutting up meat to make it portional for your family and get rid of all of the stuff that's not going to taste good. You know? That right there, cut that up, make some fajitas. See how it's discolored right there? No big deal. Just slice it off. A little bit of silver skin, no big deal. Slice it off. That one's done. And then here, show you what I do here. I love these steaks. Again, you get some silver skin. Just cut it off. Right here. Pull up. More silver skin. Just take your time, like I said. And I do a little at a time. Like right now, I'm doing one of the hind quarters. I'm gonna get this all vacuum sealed when I'm done cleaning all this up, and then I'll go on to another project and let my back straighten out, and then go and then come back to it. If not today, you got time as long as it's in the refrigerator. I do tell you, I would not want to do this for a living. My back wouldn't be able to handle it. But, so I'll give you an idea. Look at that. That's the perfect piece of meat right there. And I'll come back now. There, I'll do it for you. A little bit here, cut off. And we like half-inch steaks. So, get some more of the silver skin off. Like I said, a sharp knife is your friend. Or if you don't have a sharp knife, you're gonna waste a lot of meat. Over here. And then just put them into steaks. And I freeze them like that, and vacuum seal them, and you got yourself some real healthy, organic, if you want to call it that, meat. Again, I mean, come on, does it get any better than that? Look at that. And you can do this yourself, I'm telling you. There's a lot of videos. They helped me. We're talking about. Come on, how much is this in beef if you were to go to the store? There you go. Look at that. But anyways, just wanted to point out that you can do it. After here, I made a video before I started with the equipment that I use, my vacuum sealer and the knives I like, but I'll put it at the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Alright, here's some of the tools that I use. This short video, I want to show that so people don't get overwhelmed with cleaning your own deer. It's really not that big of a deal. If you got the time, this is the knife that I use. They're inexpensive. The kids, see if I can get it to focus. There we go. But and then I have just a standard fish fillet knife. I use that for skinning. A steel for helping straighten out the edge. And then I use a vacuum sealer. This one works great. Again, not very expensive. And then these totes. Do yourself a favor and just hit up Walmart or something and buy these dish totes. I got like 8 of them. They're great. Like, I got scraps going in here. And then this one's my burger meat, all my stuff that I'm gonna grind. But yeah, and then rubber gloves. That's it. I always have a wet washcloth. I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you guys what I do.